How often should you be washing certain items of clothing? Now, you may have spent a lot of money on some very, very nice clothes, and over time you've been degrading the quality of those items by simply washing them too much. So I'm going to run through a few basic items of clothing, and I'm going to give you my opinion on how often I believe you should be washing these items of clothing in order to keep them nice and clean, but of course keep them in good quality for as long as possible. So first of all, we're going to go with a dress shirt. Now, of course, this is going to be dependent on the individual and the location. You could be on a wedding in a hot country and you're going to sweat a lot, meaning it's going to need to be washed after that first time. But generally speaking, you should be able to get away with around 2 to 3 wears of a shirt, depending on how long you've wore that shirt and of course your body type, how much you sweat, etc. And moving on to a t-shirt. So I would generally say around 2 times wearing a t-shirt you should get it washed. Again, very dependent on the individual. It might be that you've only wore it for an hour or so and you've not sweated, so it doesn't smell. And of course, as long as you've not dropped any food stains on it or anything like that, it's not really necessary to chuck it in the wash after wearing it for a really short space of time. All you're really doing there is, again, increasing the amount of times that's going to be thrown around in a washing machine, potentially damaging that fabric. Gym wear. This should be washed every single time you have used it, my guy. If you're in the gym and you are busting your ass, you're gonna sweat and it's gonna smell, it's gonna be pretty nasty. So I would definitely advise gym wear should go straight in the wash basket after every single session. Jumpers, roll necks, cardigans, those sort of things, like heavy knitwear. Don't really need to wash these all that often, to be honest, unless there's a really just cause for it. Again, you've got a stain on it, you slipped over and you fell in the mud or something drastic has happened. You don't really need to wash these all that much. I would say anywhere between 5 to 7 wears you can get away with it, dependent again on the individual, on the environment, on the reason for wearing it. You don't need to be throwing these into the wash every single time. You're just going to damage the material on the garment. A suit. Now, first of all, let's start with the fact that you should not be putting your suits in the washing machine. You should be getting them dry cleaned, but again, it depends how often you wear it. Most of the time we only chuck on a 3-piece suit if we're going to a wedding or a funeral or whatever that may be. It's generally quite a special occasion. Unless you're the kind of person who really just likes to wear suits quite a lot, I would suggest getting your suits dry cleaned after you've wore them maybe 3 to 5 times. But again, very independent on the individual and the circumstances of which you was wearing them. So always play that by mind. What I'm saying here is just a relative rough guide in terms of how often that fabric potentially can take a beating in a washing machine, dry cleaning, etc. Just bear in mind as well, this is just my opinion. It doesn't mean that it's fact. It's just how I like to try my best to look after my clothes, keep them in as good quality as possible for as long as possible. So larger coat, overcoats, jackets, leather jackets, again, very much the same as the suit. You definitely should not be putting these in your washing machine. That would absolutely destroy the quality of the fabric. Get them dry cleaned basically whenever you need to. Whenever you look at it and think this looks ditched or it's starting to smell, whatever it may be, hopefully it shouldn't start to smell, whatever it may be, you don't need to be getting these done very often. You should be able to go for quite a long period of time without needing to get your overcoats, jackets washed. Jeans can go through an absolute battering before they generally need washing. I would say between 5 to 10 wears with a pair of jeans, you can easily get away with that, potentially more. Again, depending on the individual, circumstances, etc. Jeans do not need to be washed after every single wear. That is such a fast way to degrade the quality of your fabric. So I'm going to finish this video off today with some suit trousers, smart trousers. You're probably going to be wearing smarter trousers a lot more than you would wear an actual suit. So this again is going to come down to personal preference, how often you wear them, the intensity in which you wear them. And I know that sounds a little bit silly, but if you work in an office job or you generally dress quite smart for work, you're going to be wearing them over and over again. There's going to be a lot of movement involved, etc. You may find that you need to wash them a little bit more often than the type of person who just puts a nice pair of trousers on to go for a meal with his missus or his boyfriend or whatever that may be. Play it by mind. What I'm saying here, again, this is just a rough guide on how often I personally wash my items of clothing, and over the years I've managed to keep most of the things I've got in really, really good condition. I hope you was able to take something away from this video. Remember, look after your clothes, dress well, do do not destroy them by constantly throwing them into a washing machine, because before you know it, the item of clothing is going to degrade, it's going to feel very, very old and worn, and you're going to have to buy it again. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you liked it, remember, like, subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you on the next one.